Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to DRF.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Sunday, June the 21st, race number 10 at Santa Anita. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 American Stakes. We're going a mile on the turf. $100,000 is the purse. You can download free formulator pass performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us, and when you see the name Bolo on your entry card, you know he's going to be among the pace setters, and in this race, Timeform US's pace projector has Bolo as the primary pace setter, and that's his best game. If you take a hold of Bolo, he doesn't like it. Let him roll out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, even from the outside post here, Dan, it feels like he is going to make the lead in here. I mean, overall, I just didn't see that much pace in the race, and that's Bolo's advantage.
True Valor, a horse that's going to have to come from mid-pack, is a multiple graded stakes winner over this course and distance. Maybe the Shoemaker Mile last time out was just a bit too tough. Raging Bull and Next Chairs and Without Parole. Those are some of the better turf milers in the country. True Valor got a good pace to run at. He just was kind of one-paced. The 7th place finisher, a horse that True Valor finished directly in front of, he came back, benefited from the class drop to win the San Francisco Mile last week with a 97 buyer. True Valor may need some pace, but I wouldn't hold that last race against him. He's run well at Santa Anita in the past.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, listen, I'm a fan of this horse. If he gets the right trip, he can contend against this field for sure. Listen, his Shoemaker Mile, he just wasn't good enough. You're right. He got a really good trip and a good pace setup. He wasn't good enough. I thought the same thing about his Kilroe 2-back. He got a good trip. He had a shot at it. He just wasn't good enough to win that race. Maybe he fits better in this field.
Number 2, Jassican's found a tough spot for John Sadler. Not only will this be his first race against older horses, but it will be his first race since August the 4th at Del Mar, when he ran a good third in the La Jolla Handicap behind the aforementioned Neptune Storm, who came back to run third in the Del Mar Derby with an 89 buyer before shipping to New York to win the Hill Prince with a 95 buyer. So he kept good company. He ran good races. Let's go back to the La Jolla for Jassican. He didn't break very well. He's one of those typical European horses that just doesn't break from the gate, but we're going to see him come with a good solid kick in here. He's in between horses right now, edging into third, and that's where he'll finish.
Yeah, I mean, he ran, fine in this race. I guess he was never a real threat to win it. He's clear third at the end without making his presence felt really on the 1-2 finishers. Okay, he's a newly turned 4-year-old. I like to keep an open mind with horses like this, but he is going to have to improve.
Cleopatra's Strike doesn't win very often. 11 second-place finishes from 28 lifetime starts, but he usually runs his eyeballs out, as he did last time out in the Grade 2 San Marcos, going 1.25 miles. Let's watch that race right now. There was a big pace on tap, and we see Cleopatra's Strike in those big white blinkers swinging to the outside, second from the left, and he's going to grind into second late behind United, who was second in last year's Breeders' Cup Turf and emerged from this race to win the Whittingham with the 101 buyer. United's one of the best turf longer distance horses in the country. Cleopatra Strike ran well in that race, and he actually has won at 1 mile in the past. I still think longer distance might be better.
Yeah, that's how I look at him too. I mean, as you sort of pointed out there in that video, he's got that grinding style. He doesn't really accelerate. He just stays and stays. It feels like the longer distances are better for him, but he's certainly classy enough to beat this field.
Blitz for Krieg won the San Francisco Mile in 2019. He returned from a Dubai campaign that had middling results, stakes placed, Grade 2 placed in a turf sprint. They tried dirt. It didn't work out. He ran in the Shoemaker Mile. He was up close to that fast pace, and maybe that's what worked against him, as well as just being in a little bit tough. He can get close to this pace. I think he'll run a little bit better. I think a win might be just out of reach.
Yeah, I think he can run better in here too, because the pace should be totally different from his last race. I just wasn't sure if he was good enough.
One of the keys to this race is whether you believe trainer Mark Glatt will have Sharp Samurai ready to roll in his 5-year-old debut. This horse has not run since this race, the Del Mar Mile, back on August the 18th. There wasn't a lot of pace, and we see him on the outside right now. He's made a 3-wide bid from stalking range. He very briefly pokes his nose into the front, but he's no match for Prince Earl and is just going to hold second ahead of Grecian Fire. Prince Earl was in very good form. He came back to run third in the City of Hope Mile with a 101 Beyer speed figure. Sharp Samurai loves Santa Anita. It's his favorite surface, and he has enough tactical speed to stay close to the pace.
Yeah, all those things are true. I mean, he's a very dangerous horse in here if he's ready to run his best race off the layoff. Overall, he had a pretty disappointing campaign last year, but it was only 4 races. Prior to that, as a 3 and 4-year-old, he was actually very, very good. If he can come back in form off the layoff, he's a major player in here.
Souter is the number 6. This horse tried synthetic last time out in the Berkeley Handicap, no dice, behind Ohio, who came back to switch to turf to win the Fitzsimmons at Turf Paradise for the 2nd consecutive year with a 95 Beyer. Souter should appreciate getting back on the lawn, but he's always been more of an optional claiming horse than a true graded type. And this is a little bit better, I think, than your average grade 3 field, so he's going to have to step it up.
Yeah, he's facing a really, really good field for the level here, and he hasn't run a race that suggests he can beat any of these horses.
Bordertown, in my opinion, is all upside, and he's one of the more fascinating horses in this race. If he drifts off the 4-1, he could very well be a factor for Dick Mandela. Watch the way he finishes this race off last time out. His first start against winners, he is going to be flying in the lane. The pace setter is going to be drifting out. Watch this horse dive inside, and he is just moving. The last 16th of a mile, he blows the doors off this horse on the lead. He wins going away. I know the Beyer is light, but this horse is still all upside, and it looks like he's slowly figuring the game out for Mandela.
Yeah, he really is. He's improving with every race, and it feels like the blinkers have made a real difference in his last 2. This was a very green horse early in his career, would constantly lug in through the stretch. He doesn't do that anymore. Very confidently ridden last time by Pratt. The pace was not fast. He just sat this horse at the back of the pack, came wide, and flew home in 23 and change. I wouldn't take 4-1 on him, Dan, but I'm not going to be surprised when he runs really well in here.
It's not as long of a layoff as Sharp Samurai, but the 8 Buoys hero has not run in about 7.5 months. Since he ran okay in the Breeders' Cup Mile, I thought Pratt gave him a great ride. From post position 12, he got him into the race. He had him sitting third behind a pace battle. He had first run on everybody, and he just isn't as good as those horses. Uni was in tremendous form, got stormy, came back to win the Matriarch with a 104 Beyer. Buoy's hero, a grade 1 winner at a mile, ran very, very well. And if he runs that race off the layoff here, he'll be tough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he will. He's a multiple grade 1 winner going a mile. When he won the Shadwell Turf last year, 2 starts back, I did think he ran well. He got a great trip and ride in that race, and I thought it made the difference. But he still won that race. He has plenty of races that suggest he could be really, really tough in here. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't like him at all, Dan, but I'm looking in a different direction.
King of Speed, the number 9, 4th in the San Simeon, 2 starts back against a couple of cracked turf sprinters in Sistron and Bound for Nowhere. He was a big price that day. Came out going a mile last time out. I figured he would be forwardly placed. There was a race that didn't have much pace. He just didn't finish that race off, and that was weaker competition than the horses he'll be facing here. King of Speed, I think, can get up close. Probably he'll be sitting 3rd or 4th, but I'm not sure he has the kick of some of these others. He will be a big price.
Yeah, he will, so I won't knock him. I really couldn't make a case for this horse in this race, but he does, at least have some speed. Maybe he'll get forwardly placed.
Carla Gaines has nursed Bolo, now 8 years old, through a myriad physical issues. He's back off of another layoff. He scratched Breeders' Cup weekend when he got sick. This horse, on his best day, when he gets to the lead, can win a grade 1 race. He did so in the Shoemaker Mile last year at a gigantic price. He didn't make the lead in his 2 subsequent starts. I just think they're going to be super aggressive with him out of the stalls.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to sort of send him off to the front. And again, there's just not a lot of speed in this race. I mean, I don't see why if Van Dyke breaks this horse, he can't just clear off to the front. And obviously, when he gets loose on the lead, he can be very, very tough to beat. If he runs his really good race, Dan, he could be a handful in here, and he's a fair price on the line.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Sunday's DRF race of the day, the Grade 3 American Stakes. And you think pace will make the race, that Bolo will get to the front and put these to sleep. The lack of other speeds in this race really helps this horse. And he's usually a fair price off the layoff in these races, Mike. I think a lot of folks believe his best days are behind him. He showed last year that he can still step.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I mean, I just feel like they're going to put him on the lead here. And if he runs his good race, he can win. And ultimately, Dan, I was interested in Bordertown, but he's a pretty stingy price on the line. I would never take that kind of price on him.
Sharp Samurai is going to have to do it off a layoff. I'm concerned about that, but I think he's one of the better horses in the race from a class standpoint, and I like his tactical speed. He's run well fresh in the past, and I'm expecting he'll give his usual good effort. He'll be my top pick in the Grade 3 American. Mike's going 10-7-8-5. I like Sharp Samurai. It's the DRF race of the day. Bet it with a new DRF Bets account. You won't be sorry, because when you sign up at drf.com/bet, new players get to double their first deposit of up to $250. Approximate post time for the DRF race of the day, the Grade 3 American, 5:03 Pacific. Good luck.